Welcome to Stories and Songs by Afterglow Music. My name is Joel McCausland.
And I'm Kevin Peay, and we've been creating music for a long time.
We'd like to tell you the stories behind our songs.
Joel, today I think we want to talk about the trip to Brazil.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
And it's been kind of fun. We've done some of these episodes now, and if anybody out there likes what we're doing, let us know somehow, some way. Contact us or
share it with your friends or family.
Friends.
Yeah, whatever.
And find us on Afterglow Music Facebook page and some other areas as well. And we've got an Instagram account.
We don't get it most of the time, but we're doing our best. We're trying to put the word out.
We're trying.
Let people know.
We're trying, but you can actually find this podcast on Apple and iHeartRadio and
Spotify
Amazon
and a
Music,
few others,
Spotify.
right?
Yeah. But to talk about this Brazil trip, it was actually in April of 2000.
Is that right?
Yep.
Wow, I was thinking it was earlier than that.
And we were asked by David Beck, who was actually serving as the mission president.
He was in Rio, wasn't he?
He was in Rio, and we had a connection through some lifelong friends. And for somehow they got polling people in Brazil in regards to maybe somebody that they would like to see come down. And we made a list, and then somehow we made the top of the list. And so they began to plan a trip between Deseret Book and the mission. Mm-hmm. And we had the opportunity to fly down there and have an experience that was just off the charts. I remember, kept thinking, the only thing I could remember back at that time was Copacabana and Barry Manilow and how that was all going to come together. And maybe we could sing Copacabana on the beach and some of that stuff. But no, they had a youth conference, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right. Maybe more than one, because I think, didn't we end up singing in three major cities? We were in Sao Paulo, Rio, and Campinas. And Campinas just had a temple dedicated at that time.
We got to go tour the footings of that temple.
That's right.
But to be able to be in Brazil was just amazing. And the name of the youth conference was Onda Limpa. I remember that. I don't know any Portuguese, but my son did serve there. Onda Limpa, and that meant clean wave.
Clean wave.
And that whole concept.
They had shirts and the whole thing.
Yeah, that whole concept was to clean up the city of Rio de Janeiro.
Right, the beach especially, with the famous beaches, Copacabana and others.
And they kept talking.
They did a service project, didn't they?
Yeah, and they kept talking about like 3,500 youth coming from all over. And we found that actually this was broadcast through the national news. And it made a real splash, no pun intended.
Yeah. We were a very small part of all the cool stuff that was going on. And I'm not sure I even recognized it, but you're right. That was the whole theme. And it was really an effort to bring all those young people from the church together.
And we had the opportunity to actually find out how we were going to record this. And we found that many of the Brazilians wanted to hear some of our music in English. But then some of those we decided to have translated, and we got an interpreter that helped us in the studio.
What'd we do, 4 or 5 songs in Portuguese?
In Portuguese, yeah. And we titled it, Você é um amigo.
Oh, something like that, yes. We don't speak Portuguese.
Next.
It was like that, yes. And it means you're my friend, right? That was the whole thing.
Yeah. The English version of that's Você amigo.
Well, at least what we remember of it anyway.
And it's really cool in that we established so many friendships through this whole process. And the people that we met, there's friends everywhere across this world.
They were so gracious too. And I don't know if this is great Portuguese singing, but it was a great opportunity to be able to do this song in another language. So let's listen to the song called You're My Friend that you wrote, Kev, a long time ago.
Vivemos num mundo onde crescemos juntos, caminhando lado a lado, sempre estendendo a mão a todos os que precisar. Quando eu tropecei, foi você que ao final correu para me socorrer. Você que veio me amparar e me ajudar a começar Ven meu amigo, ajudai-me a caminhar. Vai ser bem mais fácil se contigo eu partilhar. Ombro amigo pra me apoiar com chuva ou fazendo sol. Amigo que teremos para o que deve. Depois da escuridão, o sol sempre vai brilhar. Você me ensinou que o dom da vida é o dom maior que há. Só agora entendi, não se pode viver tão só. Eu e você e eu, pra casa vamos voltar. Vem meu amigo, ajuda-me a caminhar. Vai ser bem mais fácil se contigo eu partilhar. Ombro amigo pra me apoiar com chuva ou fazendo sol. Amigo que teremos para o que deve. Se você sentir no peito vazio e quer saber de mim, qual é a resposta? Abra o seu coração, pois cada de nós queremos amigo com quem contar. Vem meu amigo, ajuda-me a caminhar. Vai ser bem mais fácil se contigo eu partilhar. Ombro amigo pra me apoiar com chuva ou fazendo sol. Amigo que teremos nos estendendo mão, que sempre nos ajuda com compreensão. Ninguém pode viver só, temos que contar com alguém. Ninguém pode viver só, temos que contar com alguém.
You know, thinking back on this time, we got this chance to go to Brazil, which was awesome. We also got these trips to Japan that we did. And it was a little different experience, at least for me. You know, Kev, when we went to Japan, I had a little bit of understanding of the language, and we were part of the process of translation and doing all that. But when we went into the studio to record these in Portuguese, it's just pure phonetics. I had no idea. I mean, there's a few familiar words, but that was a pretty fascinating part of the preparation to get ready to go down and do this.
And I remember that a lady by the name of Stacy Peters and her father was an international business person down in Brazil, and they began to coach us in regards to what this really should look like.
Wasn't Stacy Tyler Castleton's writing partner?
I think so.
Yeah, they did some of that stuff in Nashville, right?
Yeah, from Deseret Book. But anyway, I remember we were trying to figure out, well, what is this going to look like? And how is this going to come off? And so we were able to go with Brother Peters, if I remember correctly, and he was our tour guide.
He was our tour guide. He's the one who kept us out of trouble.
Yeah, that whole experience. Don't go here, go here.
That's right.
Do this, don't do that. But I remember that they had in Rio, they had a samba school booked, and you could fit almost everybody in that samba school. And you and I were trying to figure out, well, what are we going to sing? what is it that they really want us to deliver? Oh, yeah, we can do Portuguese stuff in religious material, but is there anything else that we should be doing? And I think it came to be that we did some country and we did some love songs that we had written before and performed before, and then we mixed a lot of the religious stuff actually went into the chapels when we were asked to come and do those firesides.
Yeah, it seems like we ended up doing 6 or 7 performances over a period of a week. But like you said, half of them were more for fun and let's get the kids together and do some popular stuff. And then we did some fireside stuff too.
Do you remember that they'd printed posters of us?
I do. Yes.
And those posters were plastered everywhere. And it's like, you have got to be kidding. A little shocking, but it was like, they're kind of thinking about this a little bit.
I thought, President Beck and the mission leadership did such a great job. And I mean, this was a huge event. I had no idea personally. We were just going there to sing, but they did so much work to make this be impactful for the community and to raise the presence of the church in that area. And it was really cool. Way more than I thought it was going to be when we first signed up to do it.
And some of those strategic performances were in those churches in the Samba school. And what was fascinating to me is how versatile those churches were. You would have the chapel's benches facing one way, then all of a sudden you would turn the benches and face them out to the stage, and it would turn into a concert hall.
Right.
And so we had the opportunity to not only do a spiritual setting when the benches were faced towards the chapel, but when they turned the benches the other way, we did the concert version the other side. So just a ton of fun, just a lot of great memories. But the thing that really, really comes to memory for me is when we went to Sao Paulo, we flew in, and of course it was just the city of cement. Just an absolute amazing jungle of cement buildings.
Yep. Rio's this beautiful beach, gorgeous tropical place. And you're right. In fact, I think when we flew to Sao Paulo, we flew over Sao Paulo for 45 minutes.
I remember that.
I didn't know there was a city that big.
And that was the first time I ever got on a Varig jet where you could actually walk out the back of the plane. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
It was like, wait a sec, you're not supposed to do that. You got to go out the front of the plane.
Right.
We went out the back of the plane.
It's like however you want to get off is fine.
But the thing that comes to mind from a spiritual perspective is I can't remember much about the concert in Sao Paulo, but I do remember when the fireside was done, the stake president, and that place was just packed. And I remember one of the songs that we sang was I Am a Child of God in Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
And, normally when you do a fireside and you're in the chapel, it's just quiet. But the stake president or whoever was conducting, he did the snap of the finger applause. And I can still to this day, since April of 2000, I can hear the applause with the snap of the fingers inside the chapel.
Several hundred people doing that.
It was just a beautiful experience. And do you remember what the Relief Society had done? They had sewn those white backs of the chairs.
Like the covers?
The covers.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And whenever the fireside was to be done, they would cover those chairs to look like it was a temple. And it was just amazing how much detail the Brazilian people put into receiving a couple of young people like us.
Well, relatively young anyway.
Yeah, relatively young people like us.
You're right, though. It was, the cultural aspects of this, because it was unfamiliar to me and different from anywhere I'd ever been. I mean, we went to, what do they call those, churrascaria, the big all-you-can-eat place like they have here, and we walked the streets in Sao Paulo and went to the beach in Rio and took these tours. And I remember coming back to the hotel late one night, and the nightlife there, I think it was in Sao Paulo, was just crazy. And of course, like you said, Brother Peters was trying to keep us, make sure we didn't get in any bad spots or any places we shouldn't be. And, I think we might have to ask for a little bit of forgiveness for our interpretation or our accents with the songs, but recording in Portuguese was cool. I just feel like we've experienced that, whether it was Japanese or Portuguese. Every time we try something in a different language, one of the things I think I learned from that is the Spirit can communicate to you even if you don't really understand the words. And I think we saw some of that in the firesides and the other programs we did.
This Portuguese experience was just beautiful for me, Joel, and I think I speak for you.
Yeah.
Just absolutely unreal. And when we closed our experience in Sao Paulo, we closed it with I Am a Child of God, in celebration of what we all know and feel of being a child of God. And so let's end this episode with that song in Portuguese.
Great idea.
Sou filho de Deus, por ele estou aqui. Mandou-me a terra, deu-me lar e pais tão bons pra mim. Ensinai-me, ajudai-me as leis de Deus guardar, para que dia eu vá com ele habitar. Sou filho de Deus, não me desampares. E hoje mesmo comecei a ensinar-me as leis. Ensinai-me, ajudai-me as leis de Deus guardar, para que dia eu vá com ele habitar. Sou filho de Deus e galardão te dei, se cumpro sua lei aqui, com ele viverei. Ensinai-me, ajudai-me as leis de Deus guardar, para que